We are live for another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mike, and today we're going to be breaking down UFC 319. And because we also have Dana White's Contender Series in about an hour, and I wasn't able to put out a video this past week because I did get married on Sunday, so I didn't get to put out a video for the Contender Series. I only taped the entire card today, got that done. So we're going to run through that real quick. Then we'll jump into UFC 319. Today for the UFC card, this is essentially a completely pre-taped show. I have not taped essentially anything for UFC 319. I've done just a little bit. Again, just had the wedding, just didn't have the time. So going to be taping the card mostly throughout the week as much as I can, because we're also leaving this following weekend for the honeymoon. So I'm going to do my best to catch up on the tape. But today it's going to be a pre-tape show, so it probably won't be as long, but I'll also do some wiki capping with you guys, and we'll try to remember things off, and we'll see what we can do. Try to do some good work today. So let me run through the chat. Then we'll do a quick recap of UFC Vegas 109, and then we'll do Dana White's Contender Series and then the card. Okay, so let's do the recap first. For UFC Vegas 109, so my money lines were good. My money line bets were good. We had Eric McConaughey plus 195 for 0.55 units to win just about one. I wanted to keep it small because I just didn't know how I felt about McConaughey, but I also didn't think that Brundage should be minus 200. And I heard that, it might have been a robbery. I haven't gotten to watch the fight yet. But, hey, robbery or not, Brundage was minus 200. And you just don't, you don't do that. So I'll take that. I had Urbina plus 350 for a half unit. I still stand by that if he had any brain, he could have won that fight, but he doesn't. He chose to strike after getting the knockdown and then gets knocked out himself. And of course, it's a left hand. I don't know if it was quite a hook, but it is what it is. Andre Fili, though, plus 196 for one unit. That cash, that felt really good because I just felt like that line was too wide all last week, and it felt nice to be right about that. So he came through there. C-Rod, he's just too small. He's a really good fighter, but he's too small for 45. And then the props is where I kind of got hurt because I had Cerquera sub. I mean, I had 0.1 units on it, so that was okay that I lost that. I had Hernandez wins ITD, not a bet I normally make, and I forced it, and that cost me. And then another bet I don't normally make, I laid the chalk on the under for the Ode Osborne Usyk fight. That went the distance, so that hurt as well. Again, not a bet that I really usually make. I don't like chalky unders or overs, but I didn't, and that messed me up a little bit. But then we also had a parlay, had Edwards and Hernandez for the parlay was minus 133, one unit on it. That felt good. Pretty much both of them were very easy wins. Edwards came out there and just whooped on Priscilla Cachoeira, and then Fluffy Hernandez just embarrassed Roman Dolidze. So that was a nice parlay that came through. Won a unit there. Total on the night was 0.66 units tracked. But I did also have an Angela Hill SGP same game parlay that I had a quarter unit on it. So that obviously lost. I had her winning on that. And then I had two small lottos. So I think the total off the top of my head, I made like $28, 0.28 units, but I'll take it. I'll take it. It was a winning night after a really bad losing night 2 weeks back. I'll take it, and hopefully we can keep it going. Let's catch up with the chat, then do Dana White's Contender Series, then 319. We got Jammer in the chat. What's up, Jammer? Thank you very much, and let's make some cash. That'll be good. Kyrie J, thanks for doing these. Going to be a fun card. Thank you for watching, Kyrie. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it. And it is going to be a really good card. This is an excellent card. The Ultimate Fighter finale on it also. It's going to be a really, really fun card. My guy, JB, thank you very much, brother. And yes, I absolutely did stomp on the glass. Not a robbery by any means. I got to watch it back then. I got to check it out. Thank you, Tar. I appreciate you. Thank you, Not Jabab. Appreciate you as well. Thank you, Luca. Thank you very much. All right. So let's do UFC. Let's do Contender Series really quick because that card is in less than an hour. So the first fight, Christopher Ewart, Panfarov. I like Ewert to get it done. Panfarov, I don't like his striking. I couldn't watch his most recent fights, so I don't. And he's youngish. He's like 28, 29, so he could have improved since that fight with Torres Finney. It's entirely possible. He had that win over Kazimierz Bestoev, who's just a big guy but not very good. Relatively dangerous sometimes, but he's really not that great of a fighter. So, wish I could watch that fight and see, like, is Panfarov better on the feet? How does he look like in an extended fight? I just don't know. I didn't get to watch it. Maybe if you did watch it, throw it in the chat and let me know how that fight went. But ultimately, I like Ewert to get it done because I don't like Panfarov striking. I do like Ewert striking. He's not the cleanest, most technical, but I love the volume, the output, and the body work. That's all it really takes to win me over, especially if you have a good jab. And he's got a solid jab. And then, Panfarov maybe can grapple him. Maybe he can take him down. And maybe he can submit him. We don't know just how good Ewert is on the ground, but Ewert's fought some good guys. Guy's name is, I think, Jimmy Pace Jr. He's a good fighter. He fought my guy Reese Watkins. Both of those guys tried to grapple him, and he did a pretty good job stuffing the takedowns, keeping it on the feet. So I think he's going to be okay here. I think he's going to stuff the takedowns, and I think he's the better striker with a much higher volume, and I think that his cardio is a lot better than Panfarov. So I like Ewert in the first fight. After that, it's Radley De Silva versus George Mangos. Really good fight. I think these two are the best two fighters on this card. I think some of these prospects are being a little bit overrated. We'll see if I'm right or wrong about that, but not these two. These two, I think, are just as good as people are saying they are. Mangos, I think he has a higher ceiling. He's 21 years old, and he's already as good as Silva, if not better. We'll find that out tonight. But because he's already there at 21 years old, I think his ceiling is much higher. And I am very much impressed by him, but Silva's also really good, and I think they match up really well. Personally, I think that the line should have been flipped. I think Silva should be the slight favorite, just because I feel that with Mangos, I'm watching him, and I like his striking. In the striking, I think they're close. I think Mangos is cleaner, and I think he's faster. He's really fast on the feet. He's got good hands, and I like how fast he gets those kicks up there. It's really smooth. But Silva's also a good striker. Silva puts together some nice combinations in his own right. He's got good power. The spinning stuff, I mean, he had one knockout with the spinning kick. It was nasty. It was nasty. But I also don't love spinning stuff. I just think more often than not, it doesn't serve you and it just hurts you. And he does do it a little bit too much. And I have a concern that he's going to start spinning here. And then Mangos, who's really slick in the jiu-jitsu department, is going to take his back off of a spin and submit him. So that's a concern. But at the same time, I think it's close on the feet. I think that neither of them has faced great competition, but I've seen Silva go the distance more. I've seen Silva be extended more. And my main thing is that Silva's a really solid wrestler. He's got great control. He's got good ground and pound. And when I watch Mangos, I don't like his takedown defense. He's getting taken down by Jarrett Wilbraham. He did get back up pretty quickly. And Jarrett's actually not that bad. He's not as bad as his record looks. He's pretty solid. He's a pretty good fighter, underrated. And the other one was, I don't remember the fella's name, but he took down Mangos. He took his back, won the first round, in my opinion, and then was winning the third as well in a similar fashion, took him down, took his back, but then fell off, and then Mangos was able to submit him. But what I was looking for when he was defending the takedowns was I was looking for, what is he doing, right? Because wrestling is the only background in MMA I have, so that's the only thing I can speak from experience and know what to look for from my own experiences in life. But he's not fighting the hands, which is a big red flag for me. And I didn't see a single time that he actually tried to stick an underhook in there and break the hands I'm not seeing it from Mangos. Now he's 21. It's not going to be hard for him to fix that. And he might already have fixed it. And maybe tonight he's going to stuff everything. He's going to fight the hands. He's going to use his underhooks. Maybe. I see that I'm like kind of freezing up a little bit, guys. My Wi-Fi is Spectrum, and Spectrum has had like 8 outages in the last 3 days in my neighborhood. So if I freeze, or if I'm like freezing right now, let me know, and that's why. But ultimately, I'm going to pick Silva to win the fight. I just think that from what I've seen so far, going off of the tape I have and what I looked at, I think that Mangos doesn't have the takedown defensive stuff, the takedowns, and he's going to need to do that to win this fight. If he can, he should get it done. And if Silva's silly and starts spinning too much, Mangos will catch him. So again, super winnable fight for both guys. I just lean towards the Silva side. After that, we have Murtaza Talha versus Bisengur Susurkayev. Interesting fight, interesting matchup. I think that Susurkayev is being a little bit overrated. I'm not going to lie. I got to the tape really late, but I've been listening to some people's pods and like listening to what they think. And I've heard such incredible things about him that I was like, okay, this dude's got to be like something legit because it's people I respect saying these things about him. And then I turned on the tape and I started looking for myself. And it's not that he's bad. He's good and he's young. He's 25. I can see the possibilities, but I'm not really seeing what everybody's so excited about. Like, he's a solid striker, sure, but he's not like putting together really nasty combos. He's not like super smooth, in my opinion. And I kind of notice his kicks are bad. It's not that they're slow or anything. It's just he doesn't set them up. They're so naked that if you can, like the leg kicks, I didn't like them at all. I didn't like the way he set up his head kick. And I think he's really counterable. So there were things that I wasn't crazy about. He can be taken down, but he does pop back up really quickly. But he can also have his back taken. One fella kept doing it to him. What's his name? It was in Fury, I believe. No, it was Baraka 1. It was Shane Subnoski. And Shane's not terrible, but not the best look ever, having your back taken multiple times by him. That was a little bit concerning. So overall, like Susurkaev, I can see the vision, I guess. I could see how he could be really good. But I didn't see what other people were seeing, like all this excitement and how he's like really, really amazing and one of the best guys on the Contender Series ever. Like, I'm not seeing that. Maybe tonight I'm going to see it, but on the tape, I didn't see it. And with Murtaza Talha, I think people are really low on him because a lot of us, and I say us because I'm almost positive I'm included in this, a lot of us parlayed him against Bellato when he was like -3, 400. I might have actually just laid the -300 straight, honestly, if I remember myself correctly. But I think that's why we're getting the line we have, because he was -400 against Bellato at 205, and now he's down at 185 against a guy who's on short notice, a guy who used to fight at welterweight and is not a big middleweight at all, and he's almost +300. That I don't fully understand, because Talha is actually pretty good in his own right. I don't hate his striking. I think his striking is pretty good. Susurkaev may be a little bit cleaner, but I think Talha has a really smart, educated jab that he uses well. And I think his dirty boxing and his work in the clinch is really good. So if he's going to be closing the distance to wrestle, which I'm pretty confident he's going to be, he's also going to be dirty boxing. He's also going to be working the clinch, the knees, the elbows, and those short little shots. So I do like that from him. And then the wrestling, like I said, he's a good wrestler. I do think he can take down Susurkaev and give him some problems there. The main concern will be the cardio. You know, if Talha doesn't get him out of there early, which I don't really think he will, can he keep it up? Can he hold it together and not get finished? It's a big question mark, but we'll see. Remember, Talha's young too. He's 29 years old. He's not as young as Susurkaev, but he's not an old man either, and he's very likely to have improved. He's only had that one fight since the Contender Series fight against Bellato, and it was a terrible competition, so we don't really know, but I think that he's going to be competitive in this fight. I'll pick Susurkaev just because I trust him a little bit more, but I'll be honest, I think this line is really, really off. We'll see if I'm right about that tonight, but I think the line doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Then we have Ty Miller versus Jimmy Drago. I don't know what to make of this fight, really. I know everyone's really liking Ty Miller. I'm kind of tempted on the Drago side now that he's like almost +200. He's got that dog in him. He brings it every time. He's probably going to be a slightly better wrestler. I don't have a lot of tape on his wrestling because they took down all of his fights on YouTube after he got signed for the Contender Series. So I can only watch some of his fights. He's a brawler. He seems like a good striker. He has a ton of power. He's very explosive, but he's hittable in his own right. He can be cracked, and he's got some issues with Ty. Like, he's good. He's good. He's long. He's rangy, but I don't love his output. I wish he would throw more. I wish he would do more. He can be out-grappled, and I heard that in the Drago-Turner fight, Drago was actually out-grappling him. Again, I couldn't watch that fight. I didn't have access, but that's what I heard. If that's true and he can wrestle here, that could help him. Miller will probably pop back up. He's pretty good at getting back up to his feet, but I think that this is a winnable fight for Drago. I'm not sold on Miller yet. Maybe I'll be sold tonight if he gets a finish or something like that, or has a really dominant win. But for now, I'm not sold. I think that, you know, his finishing upside isn't that high for Miller, at least from what I've seen. He doesn't seem like the greatest finisher. But if he gets a finish, it would make sense to be here because Drago's pretty hittable. He could be countered. He could be caught. So I'll pick Miller, much bigger guy, definitely the cleaner striker. But I think Drago is a live underdog. And then last but not least, we have Ilian Bufia versus Nimias Santana. And it's an interesting matchup. I do wish I got to the line earlier when Santana was like +180. closer to plus 200, because I think that was a great line. Bufia, untested, keeps his chin up high. He is a clean, smooth striker. I think he's the better striker, the more technical guy. I think he has a higher ceiling. And don't be fooled by the face-offs. I think a lot of people were looking at the face-offs expecting a really big size difference, because Bufia is like 6'5", and Santana is like 5'11". And it didn't look like there was that much of a difference. But if you pay attention, Santana was wearing the flip-flops they have, which are like this thick, and Bufia was barefoot. So keep that in mind. Bufia is going to be a lot taller. He will. He does a decent job at managing the range. He's not the best job, but he does a decent job. Santana, if he does, pressure, take away that space and constantly throw, which he does in most of his fights, he can win this. I think he's a very live underdog. Anybody who got him at plus 200, plus 180-ish, I think they did their job. But for me now, the line seems about accurate, because I do think that Bufia is the cleaner striker and a little bit just overall better. He is a little bit deficient in the grappling, but Santana does not grapple. And I think a lot of people are looking at the Paul and Begai fight. Sorry if I'm butchering his name, and kind of saying like, oh, this random dude that he didn't do that well against, barely beat him. Begai's pretty good. He's pretty good. Like if you watch Aries, like you watch his fights, he's a solid fighter. I'm very familiar with him. I've backed him before. So to me, Bufia winning that fight at 5-0, that's impressive. It wasn't. He didn't win it in the most impressive fashion, but just passing that test, I think, was a really good sign from him. And he's got great training partners. So I do think that he's going to get it done. But like I said, I think Santana is a live underdog. And if you took him at a solid price, you did your job. All right. That's Dana White's Contender Series. Now let's pull up UFC 319. Let me catch up with the chat first. Premier TV. Where do you watch regional MMA? So I use the MMA Fight Archive. I like it. I know some people don't want to use it for certain reasons. To me, it's the best one. I don't like the other options for sites that give you all these fights. But if you don't know what it is, it's just a website on Patreon. It gives you all the fighters on each card coming up and links to all their stuff. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. It's just what I use. You asked me the question. But if you don't want to sign up for something like that, usually regional MMA, you'll find it on stuff like UFC Fight Pass, YouTube. For the Asian promotions, you can often find them on Youku. It's YOUKU, something like that. I've used that one. And then MMA Full Fights is also pretty good. That they often have a lot of fights on there. JP Prill, it was a robbery. He's talking about the Brundage McConnell fight in the sense that two judges gave Eric on too. Yeah, I heard that. I heard people say that like the decision wasn't necessarily bad, but the scorecards were, which that can happen. Duo saying a lot of the facts that disadvantaged Talha in his last Contender Series fight are now in his favor, being in the right weight class, full camp, not injured. Yeah, I agree I do think it's an over-adjusted line by a lot. Tazo, what's up, brother? Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it. All right. Let's pull up UFC 319. Okay. No. Let's make this a little smaller. Boom. Okay. Quick reminder for anybody who only tuned in now, who hasn't been tuned in for my whole 18-minute thing just now. So I have not gotten to tape all these fights. I haven't gotten to tape almost any of these fights. Got married on Sunday. Did not have the time. So this is a pre-tape show for the most part. I have not taped them. So we're going to be just talking off of memory, what I know, what I've seen. Most of these fighters I'm familiar with, but not all of them. All right. So first fight of the night, it's the Ultimate Fighter 33 finale for flyweight. We don't have our welterweight finalists yet. My prediction is it's going to be Cezinando and the Ukrainian fella, but we're going to find that out tonight. It hasn't been released yet, and I don't know who won. That's just my prediction, is I think the Ukrainian guy is going to win, but I'm also biased. So I think it's going to be him and Cezinando, but we'll keep that for the YouTube shorts. I'll break that down once we know for sure who it's going to be. Now, for this fight, we have Alibi Idiris versus Joseph Morales. Idiris, 10-0 undefeated. He's going to be 5'6". I don't know how old he is, but I believe he's on the younger side. On the other side, we have Morales, 12-2-0. He's 30 years old. He's going to be the same height, and he's going to have a 68-inch reach. So I was pleasantly surprised about Morales. I knew about him. I knew about his first UFC stint. I was relatively familiar, but I didn't really know where he was at right now in this stage of his career. I haven't seen his more recent fights, so I didn't know what to expect from him going into the season, and he's been really, really dominant. That first fight, he took out Who did he take out in the first fight? It was a good fighter. I just had the Ultimate Fighter results up. Let me pull them up again. It was... Oh, yeah, Eduardo Henrique. Everybody was super high on him, the LFA guy. And Morales came out there and just ran through him, submitted him, finished him there. And then he had the fight with Imanol Rodriguez. That was a really fun fight. I watched that whole thing live. I didn't think it was necessarily a robbery. I thought that you could have given it to Imanol as well, but it would have been fine if it went either way. So I'm fine with the result there. Overall, he beat two really good prospects, two people that everybody was high on. And he's a great grappler. He's a good striker. He's a very well-rounded guy. He's only 30 years old, despite already having a UFC stint, but he's good. On the other side with Idiris, I don't remember him as much. I didn't really see his Ultimate Fighter fights as much. I missed those episodes, but I did see the knockout over Roy Burt. That was really good. That was a really clean knockout. I didn't get to see the Foretbek Yukabov fight, so I don't know what that looked like. What I do know about Idiris is that he's a really good striker. I know that he's explosive. He has a lot of power for the division. I know he's a good finisher. I don't know what his takedown defense looks like. I don't know what his grappling looks like. This is what I'm going to have to tape for. I think that he's going to win as long as that takedown defense is good, because I think he's a better striker from what I've seen, and I think he has more finishing upside and more moment-winning upside with the power. But again, it's really going to come down to what his takedown defense looks like on the tape, and then it's going to depend on the line as well. If I get a really big underdog price on Morales and I feel that he has a path there through the grappling, that's going to be a shot that I do end up taking probably. All right, let's move on. We'll pick for now, we'll pick Idiris decision. But again, pending tape. This is all super temporary. Next up, we have Karine Silva versus Dione Barbosa. Silva, she's 18-5-0, 31 years old, 5'5" with a 67-inch reach. And it's saying that she's at Fighting Nerds now, which I don't know about. On the other side, Barbosa, she's going to be 8-3-0, 33. She's 2 years older, 1 inch taller, and she's going to be at a 1 inch reach disadvantage. Let me just refresh real quick. Who was her last fight? She subbed Belbita, and then it was Maverick, right? And then this I know, Arugio, because I bet Arugio. Okay. Okay, so again, haven't taped this one, but I honestly don't know which way I'm going to go. Because when I played Arugio, Silva was a really big favorite. She was like minus, I want to say like 300 or something. I think I played Arugio at like plus 200-ish, something along those lines. And I just felt like Silva's a little bit overrated. I felt like the gas tank was not tested. I felt like her takedown defense wasn't great. And I felt that she could play off of her back end. I'm also not that sold on her striking. Again, I need to refresh because I actually don't really remember now off the top of my head. I think that on the feet, she's probably going to be better because I don't remember Barbosa being that great of a striker. And Silva does seem to hit relatively hard. Both of them are really good grapplers. Both of them have really good jiu-jitsu. I feel like personally, Barbosa might have slightly better wrestling and might have, not might, I think she has the better cardio. So I could see her taking over late. But I can also see Silva being the more physical one, keeping it on the feet, maybe getting her own takedown. So it could get really interesting. With the current line in terms of a bet, I would lean towards dog or pass because I'm just not high on Silva. I wouldn't lay the chalk on her. Not when I don't like her cardio, not when I think she can be out-grappled possibly in this fight. So again, pending tape. Honestly, I'm not going to do these picks because I'm essentially just guessing, and I don't like that. So I'm not going to be filling this in because, again, this is a pre-tape show. But for now, this fight would be dog or pass for me. This fight I'm up to date with. This one I can talk about good. We have Nursulton Ruziboev versus Bryan battle. Ruziboev 36-9-2, 31 years old, 6'5" with a 76-inch reach. Battle on the other side, he's going to be 12-2-0. He's 30, so he's 1 year younger. He's going to be 4 inches shorter, though, and he's going to have a 1 inch reach advantage. I think Battle should mop Ruziboev. I've never been high on the guy at all. I understand that Ruziboev might have some grappling upside here. Battle can be taken down. His takedown defense has gotten a lot better. His get-ups have gotten a lot better. He does pop up really quickly. He even did that against scary Russian dude. What's his name again? What's his name? Got a robbery over Carlos Leao. Renat, right? Yeah, Renat. So he popped back up really well in that fight, and I don't rate Ruziboev at all. He can be out-grappled in his own right. I don't like his striking. He's very low output. I don't trust his cardio to this day. I think Dustin Stoltzfus fumbled the bag in that fight, and I had a bet on him there. And I just think Battle's a much better striker. I think Battle's got better cardio. I think Battle has fought the better competition. I think that Battle is just overall a better fighter. I think he can actually also submit Ruziboev. I wouldn't be too shocked about that. So I like Battle here quite a bit. We'll go Battle. Ruziboev is pretty durable. So I feel like it's either like a club and sub or a decision. I'll go this. I keep filling it out. I'm not filling this out. That's the last time. But I'm leaning towards the Battle side. Let's see what the chat is saying, and then we'll move on. Nate also not high on Silva. Jammer thinking Alibi in that fight. If Ruzi doesn't finish early, Battle probably rolls. I agree. I think Battle will be the one shooting. There have been signals that he hasn't shot multiple times. There definitely has been. Off the top of my head, I don't remember, but he's not always wrestling. Battle probably stronger, bigger, and can cage push. Ruziboev made 170 in short notice. He's tall, but not that strong. I think he's a strong dude, but yeah, I agree with the assessment that Battle might be stronger than him. I agree with you on the sub. Oh, Battle sub more likely than KO on odds. Well, that's kind of my read too. I feel like Ruziboev is pretty durable. What's the number? Battle KO plus 500, sub plus 300. Okay. Ruziboev has weighed in at 184 before. Bryan's a big guy. This is at welterweight, right? No, it's a middleweight. Interesting. Okay. Well, the 2 early KOs, but that's it. And the Renat fight. Word. All right. We can move on. Next up, we've got Edson Barbosa versus Drakkar Klose. Barbosa 24-12-0, 39 years old, 5'11" with a 75-inch reach. Klose 15-3-1. He's 37, so he's not that much younger. He's going to be 2 inches shorter, and he's going to have a 5-inch reach disadvantage. Did not tape this one. Let's catch up a little bit. Okay. The Lerone Murphy decision, that was a 5-rounder. I remember that. The Yusuf fight, I remember. Billy, of course, I remember. Bryce, I remember when Bryce dropped him. And then Drakkar, who'd he lose to? Yo Alvarez, okay. This fight was a terrible look for Drakkar, even though he won. I had him there at chalk, too. The Selecki slam was nasty. Yeah. Off memory, pre-tape, I lean towards Barbosa. Just feel like they're both kind of old. They're both kind of washed. I feel like Barbosa probably a little chinnier now. He's absorbed a lot more damage. Drakkar maybe a little bit more likely for a knockout, but Barbosa hits really hard in his own right. I don't really expect much grappling from either guy. Maybe Klose tries to shoot, tries to wrestle a little bit, but Barbosa's got pretty good takedown defense. I think he'll be okay. I lean towards Barbosa, but I don't really see myself laying chalk on him at this number, and I don't really see myself playing close, but we'll see once I tape it. This fight sketches me out so much. I think someone gets knocked out, but if it turns into 2 scared guys, I don't know what the hell happens. Yeah, this one's a tricky one. I lean towards Barbosa, but if people approach this as like a dog or pass, I would understand that as well. Let me open up a few of these so I don't have to keep doing it. Okay. Next up, we have Alexander Hernandez versus Chase Hooper. Hernandez is 16-8-0, 32 years old, 5'9" with a 72-inch reach. Hooper 16-3-1. He's 25 still, so he's 6 years younger. No, 7 years younger. He's going to be 2 inches taller. No, he's actually going to be, hold on, 4 inches taller. Yes, and he's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage. So for me here, again, pre-tape, haven't taped this one. The line seems kind of crazy. Not going to lie. Who are Hernandez's line? Like, if we got this line a couple years back, like when Hooper was losing to like Steve Peterson, it would have been a smash spot on Hernandez. But now when Hooper's actually getting really good, I don't know about that. But Hernandez, yeah, he had the Hollowball win, the Hubbard split, and then the Jackson split, and the Algeo loss. And with Hooper, he just beat Miller. I remember he cooked Guida, Borishev cooked him. Levitt cooked him. Yeah, I mean, I have to think it's Hooper. I definitely think Hooper's like going to get it done. I don't know that I'm going to be able to bet him at this number. We'll see once I tape it. But he definitely has the better cardio. He's a tremendous pace pusher, and Hernandez has bad cardio. So I think Hernandez is going to struggle. I think Hernandez could chin him. Don't forget, Hooper is a little bit chinny. He does keep that chin pretty high up, and he has taken a good amount of damage over his career already, and he's only 25. So I think Hernandez could hurt him. And if Hernandez keeps us on the feet, this is a winnable fight for him. He's probably the better striker, but I really like who Hooper's becoming. I think he's really developing. He's really coming into himself. He's becoming really strong, really physical. The grappling is on point. I think he will be able to land takedowns, and I think ultimately he's going to eventually break Hernandez. So I do like Hernandez. I like Hooper, but the line is probably going to keep me from playing it. If Hooper doesn't sub Hernandez, I don't know what to think anymore. I don't know if he's... I guess he can sub him or TKO him in the third. I think either one's possible. But I am going to go with Hooper there. Next up, we have Jessica Andrade versus Lupita Godinez. Andrade, 26-14-0. She's going to be 33 years old, 5'1" with a 62-inch reach. On the other side with Lupita Godinez, she's 13-5-0. She's going to be 2 years younger. She's going to be 1 inch taller for once in her life. And she's going to have a 1 inch reach disadvantage. So let me catch up on there. Again, this is pre-tape, did not tape. Andrade, okay, I remember that one. JJ, Natalia Silva. Then she beat Marina. I had her against Marina, and I didn't think she looked that good, I'll be honest. The Dern win was nice, and the Suarez loss. And then Godinez, the Polastri win. That was a good fight. I had Polastri there. She had a really good third round, really turned it up, but solid win for Godinez. And she lost to Dern, Jandaroba. This one's interesting. I know a lot of people on Andrade. I haven't taped it yet, and the line has gotten cooked, so I don't think I'll get there. I think Andrade is kind of getting to the point where she's a little bit washed. I do think that she's not what she used to be, not because of these two fights, no, because Natalia Silva is, in my opinion, the best woman in the weight class, and Jasmine's not far behind. Really talented fighter. So I don't think she's washed because of those fights. For me, it's primarily this one, the one where I backed her. I didn't like how she looked. I didn't. I thought she looked slower. I thought she looked not great. I thought that her fight IQ was pretty poor. So that's when I kind of started noticing a decline. It wasn't these two. But then with Lupi, you can't trust the woman. She's got one of the worst fight IQs in all of the division, if not all of the UFC. She has improved a lot. She's developed into a pretty good fighter, pretty well-rounded fighter. She's a solid enough boxer, but she can't box with Andrade. Like, she's too hittable for that. Andrade hits way too hard. If you're going to strike with Andrade, you need to be able to have range management, like Natalia Silva, for example. Otherwise, you're kind of cooked. So if Lupi either A, doesn't go for takedowns, or B, can't take Andrade down, then she might be in big trouble. At a close line, pre-tape, I'm going to lean with the woman who does have grappling upside, who I do think isn't washed yet, and Andrade, I think, is getting there. So I'm going to lean towards the Lupi side pre-tape, but I don't really see myself laying the chalk. That could change once I tape it. If I tape it, I'm like, okay, I really think Andrade is done, then maybe I'll back Lupi. Or maybe I'll tape it and I'll be like, no, Andrade got this. We'll see. I'll put out shorts this week. I do intend on doing that. So once I tape everything, I'll have a more firm opinion. But I lean towards Lupi right now, pre-tape. This fight is something else. Next up, we have Gerald Meerschaert versus Michal Oleksiejczuk. Meerschaert, 37-19-0. He's 37 years old, 6'1" with a 77.5-inch reach. Michal, 29-0, 30 years old. He's 7 years younger. He's going to be 1 inch shorter. He's going to be at a 3-inch reach disadvantage, and he is training with the Fighting Nerds, which I think is a great move for him. He did have this win over Dumas not long ago. Cash there, that felt good. I don't rate Dumas at all, and I think we all agree on that now. And then he had the losses here. Not the best looks, I'm not going to lie. I mean, Shara, we can forgive. And then with Meerschaert, he had the Tavares loss. He looked pretty washed there, like really washed. RDR, we can forgive him. RDR is not far from a title shot. And then he had these two spots right here. For me, It's pretty binary. This is pre-tape, but honestly, I feel like this is a fight that I don't necessarily need a ton of tape for. I know them really, really well. Michal either kills him in the first and second round, or Meerschaert submits him in the third. That's kind of how I feel. I do lean towards Michal. I do think he's probably going to knock out Gerald, but this is also the perfect opportunity for Meerschaert to hit that round 3 submission again. I mean, would anybody be surprised? So we'll see how I end up targeting it once I do tape it, but I'm already itching to play that round 3 sub, and we'll see about the Michal side once I start looking into it. But I do favor Michal, and I do like the fighting nerds for him. I'm hoping that'll help with the cardio. And he is training with his brother over there. His brother's better than him. His brother's really good, and he's about to be on the Contender Series one of these upcoming weeks too, so look out for him. What's up, Marcus, my guy? Make sure you guys are following Marcus on Twitter. He's the man. Do you think Lupita has worse fight IQ than Kevin Holland? That's a really tough one. Probably. Because I feel like Kevin Holland, it's not so much his bad fight IQ. He definitely has bad fight IQ. But it also just feels like he just doesn't care half the time. Probably because he gets such a big show amount that he doesn't necessarily need the win bonus. But I would lean towards Loopy having worse fight IQ. And not Jabab also saying GM3 round 3. Would it be his 30th sub? That's crazy. But I'm gonna pick Michal there. All right, next up we have King Green versus Diego Ferreira. Green, he's 32, 17, and 1, 38 years old. He's going to be 5'10" with a 71-inch reach. Ferreira, 19, 6 and 0, 40 years old, 2 years older. He's going to be 1 inch shorter, and he's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage. Again, did not tape this one. So let's see. Bobby had the roofie fight. He got knocked out. Patty finished him, but Patty's not far from a title shot now. The Miller win was very dominant. Turner killed him, and then he knocked out Dawson. Of course, we all remember that. And then Ferreira had the loss to Dawson. The Rebecca win was very good. The Johnson win was not that impressive, you know. Think you guys lost me there. Live right now. If you could let me know if you could see me and hear me okay, that would be great before I continue. All right, guys. I'm currently on my phone because my Wi-Fi stopped working completely. Currently have no Wi-Fi whatsoever. I guess it's another Spectrum outage. They've literally had like 10 of them in the last week. So please let me know if you guys can see me still now on my phone. Let me know, and then I'll continue the show from here. It's the best I can do for now. I'll wait for one comment letting me know that I'm back, and then we'll continue. Can you see me, Matt Smith? Okay, cool. I'm back. So we're going to do this a little different now. We're going to have to do it without the computer. Let me pull up the fights, and then we'll continue. Sorry, guys. Nothing I can do, unfortunately. It is what it is. Spectrum, do better. Get some help. Okay, we were talking about King Green, Diego Ferreira. So pre-tape, I'm leaning towards Diego Ferreira. I just feel like Bobby's really washed at this point. I think that he's going to struggle to take shots. I think Ferreira hits really hard. And I think that while Green does have really good takedown defense and really good counter grappling, I think that's going to start to go as he gets older. And Ferreira's still a pretty good, dangerous grappler. So I'm going to lean towards the Ferreira side, but I can understand why people like Green here. It could look very similar to what Diego Ferreira versus Michael Johnson looked like before the knockout, where Johnson was kind of cooking Ferreira. But I also think that Johnson somehow is still doing a little bit better right now than Bobby Green is at this stage of his career. So I am leaning towards the Diego Ferreira side. But again, I'm pre-tape. All right, moving on. We're on the main card. We've got Tim Elliott versus Kai Asakura. That's funny, no, Rashi. Can I pull up comments from here? Yeah, I could. It is like one long short. For this Couch Warrior podcast short. But all right, we got next fight up. We have Tim Elliott versus Kai Asakura. Tim Elliott, he's going to be 20-13-1. Kai Asakura 21-5, and Asakura will be 1 inch taller and will have a 3-inch reach advantage. I really need to tape this one because I'm actually very interested on the Tim Elliott side pre-tape. Tim Elliott, a guy who's 38 years old, definitely on the older side of things, but he's still doing it. He's still getting the job done. He's still a really good grappler. He's a decent enough striker to set up the shots, and because he's a dangerous grappler and because he's shooting so much, sets up the hands a little bit more. I think that Kai Asakura is a much cleaner striker. I think that Kai Asakura hits a lot harder. I think Kai is very live to knock out Tim Elliott, and I do lean towards him winning the fight, keeping it on the feet, and just being the better striker. But I mean, Tim's what? Plus 250, I think? Yeah, plus 250. That's tempting. And what's Tim's decision? Oh, I still don't have Wi-Fi. I forgot about that. Tim decision is plus 400, plus 450. I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. I think that Tim, if he can get those takedowns, he's going to be the much better grappler. I think that Kai is a little bit deficient in the grappling. So I think it's a winnable fight for Tim Elliott. And he did look good in his fight against Sumaderji. It's just that was a while ago. It was over a year and a half. So pre-tape, I lean towards Kai as a pick, but if I make a bet, I highly doubt it's going to be on Kai. It'll probably be on the underdog if I get there. And that's the main card opener. That should be pretty exciting. So my computer Wi-Fi is working again, but I don't want to risk it because it's going to suck if I hop off my phone, get on the computer, and then it happens again. So we're going to stay on my phone. If you're tuning in now, we're like this because my Wi-Fi is Spectrum, and Spectrum is horrible, and they keep having outages. So we're doing the rest of the show off my phone. Next up, we have Jared Cannonier versus Michael Page. Awesome fight. Really interesting. I think that Page should get it done. I think that he's the cleaner, rangier striker, and he's a guy who can really frustrate people, make it really hard for them to find him. And Jared Cannonier is kind of flat-footed, a little bit of a plotty guy. He's definitely on the slower side of things these days, and Page is going to be much faster. I think it's going to be hard for Cannonier to find him, and I think that Page is going to get it done. I think he's going to win a decision, but I'm excited to tape the fight because I'm thinking pre-tape that there might be some angles for Cannonier, right? So, first of all, Cannonier hits like a train even now. And even now, Cannonier can throw out a lot of output, and he's still very durable. So if he comes out there and he takes away the space from Page, and he tries to if he can cut the cage properly and kind of stop him from using all that really good movement,
I think Cannonier can start landing some big shots. So I think he can have moments on the feet, and I do love his output, and I think he's a good striker. And he, in my opinion, he's probably the harder hitter. I do also wonder if he can knock out Page, because Page has been hurt before. He's been knocked out before as well by Lima. So I feel like Cannonier hits like an absolute truck, and if he lands his big shots, I would not be shocked if he was able to put away Page. And then I'm also wondering, what if Cannonier tries to wrestle? You know, he's on the older side of things, but his cardio has always been good, even now. He does slow down a bit, but those are 5-rounders. He's been in a lot of 5-rounders recently. Now he's going to have 3 rounds. Can he wrestle? Maybe. So I do wonder that if Cannonier could maybe pull this off. So that is a dog spot that I'm possibly going to be looking at. But who knows? Maybe I'll end up on the favorite instead. That happens sometimes. But Page at minus 200, I don't necessarily see myself getting there. Page decision, I see plus 110 on FanDuel. I don't hate that, but I kind of like Cannonier decision a little more, plus 350. I don't hate that. Cannonier knockout, plus 600. There's some interesting ways to target this fight, I think. Maybe, you know what could be good? I don't know yet the numbers because they're not out yet, but I'm curious what the line Cannonier takedowns at. Because if they do like a half takedown, like 1 takedown for Cannonier at like plus money, I think that might be something to look at. Because I have a gut feeling he might try to mix in some grappling. Let's move on. I'm going to pick Page for now, though, pre-tape. Remember, guys, if you're tuning in now, I just got married this past Sunday, so I did not get to tape any of these fights, really, just a couple. Like I did the Bryan battle one, and I did the main event. But those are really it so far. So most of these are pre-tape. If you're tuning in now, this is a pre-tape show. So please bear with me. When I do my shorts this week, that'll be post-tape, so I'll be a little bit more caught up with everything. But next up, we have Geoff Neal versus Carlos Prates. Geoff Neal, he's going to be 16-6-0, 34 years old, 5'11" with a 75-inch reach. Prates, he's going to be 21-7-0, 31 years old, so he's 3 years younger. He's going to be 2 inches taller, and he's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage. So Prates coming off of that loss to Ian Gary in the main event, and honestly, it's probably good for him, and I don't think it's a bad thing. Ian Gary, in my opinion, is one of the best fighters in the division. I know people don't like him, but he's really, really talented and has a really high ceiling. And I think it was good for Prates to have that fight, and I think it was good for him to, lose those moments, lose those minutes, and have to figure it out. And he went all 5 rounds, and now we know that he can go 5 rounds. Does he slow down a little bit? Sure. But can he still get a knockdown and almost finish Ian Gary in the 5th? Hell yeah, he can. So I think that it was a really good learning experience for him. He's 31 years old. He still has room for improvement. He's at Fight Nerds. We know how great of a camp that is. And I think it was a really good thing for him. I can understand 1,000,000% why people might be targeting Geoff Neal. He's overall a durable guy. He did get finished in the Shafkat fight, but that was a sub. Other than that, he's a really durable dude. He had a relatively competitive fight with Ian Gary in his own right. And I can see why people back him, because if he's durable, if that holds up, and Prates doesn't knock him out, then we're probably looking at a pretty close fight, right? I think that Prates is the better striker, the cleaner striker. I think he has a lot more power. I think he has more tools and weapons on the feet. Maybe not a lot more power, because Geoff Neal also hits really hard. But he has a lot of power. He has the tools on the feet, more tools on the feet, more weapons in his arsenal. I really love the knees, the teeps to the body. Those are really, really good. So I do favor him in the striking, but I can see why people think Neal can compete, because if he's durable enough to take the big shots, then he probably will be relatively competitive. And then, Neal can wrestle. Neal's a solid wrestler, and Prates still a little bit untested in the grappling. I don't remember off the top of my head how much Ian grappled him. I'm trying to remember now. Let's pull it up. Yeah, so Ian got 4 takedowns on 19 attempts. So Prates did a really good job defending there. I do remember him popping back up a good amount. I do remember that. So I feel like Prates is going to win this fight. I think there's some interesting ways to target it. Like, the way I'm thinking is, okay, Neal's durable. I still think Prates is the better fighter right now. I think he's a better striker. I think he keeps it on the feet. So I'm kind of wondering about Prates' decision. That might be a bet that I target. We'll see once I get there. Maybe I can get to the money line. I don't know about that. I'm a little nervous because I do think Neal has a path here if the durability continues to hold up. We also have to understand that Neal has taken so much damage at this point of his career. He's not the most defensively sound guy. And that's going to add up. And Pratesh, in my opinion, is one of the hardest hitters of the division. So I'm going to go with Pratesh there. But again, this is pre-tape. Next up, we have, can't wait for this fight. We have Aaron Pico versus Lerone Murphy. And this is the Twitter civil war of the week, the MMA community civil war of the week. Nobody can agree. Everybody disagrees on the side. And I think it's an awesome fight. Lerone Murphy is a guy who I have always been high on. Never in my life have I bet against him. I'm currently holding a Murphy end of 2025 champion ticket that's not going to hit. But I made that bet because of how good I think he is. He's literally undefeated. He's fought a really high level of competition, the higher level of competition as compared to Pico. And I think that, this is a really interesting fight. I think my gut reaction to the matchup was Pico. Was that I like Pico because if you guys remember, Lerone Murphy, probably his hardest fight in the UFC was when he fought really good Brazilian guy, Gabriel Santos. And Santos was on a short notice debut. I remember I went hard on Lerone Murphy there. I had like minus 130 on him. It was an early line. I played it really heavy in my standard. Not for other people, but at my standard, it was a big bet for me. And I didn't think he won that fight. He got taken down. He got out grappled and it was competitive on the feet. And Aaron Pico is one of the best wrestlers in the game. Like, he's a phenomenal wrestler. He's really, really, really good. You talk to anybody who wrestled in high school, college, they know who Aaron Pico is. We all know who he is. He's a phenomenal grappler. It does translate to MMA. He is a good wrestler, but he's also a super dangerous striker, a really good striker. He's developed that portion of his game really well, and he's got a ridiculous amount of power. So, pre-tape, I'm going to lean towards the Pico side because he has wrestling upside, because he has more power, in my opinion. And if anyone does get a knockout, I lean towards it being Pico, and I do lean towards Pico having wrestling success. But I can also see myself possibly getting to a Lerone Murphy bet because at the end of the day, he has fought the much better competition. I think if we're looking at who's the cleaner striker, I think it's Lerone Murphy. He has good range management, and, he's really developed his own grappling. He can also wrestle well, and his takedown defense is really good, too. So if we're talking about betting lines, what we're going to do with our money, pre-tape right now, it's dog or pass for me, especially with Lerone sitting at plus 160, Pico being minus 185. Pico has looked phenomenal, but the level of competition, it's been good for Bellator standards, but maybe not, up to the level of the UFC. So I can see either Pico, I guess I can see Pico getting a knockout. I think that's possible. And I can also see Pico winning a decision with wrestling and damage kind of based decision. But I can also see Lerone Murphy winning a decision here by keeping it on the feet, just being the cleaner guy, using his movement, frustrating Pico a little bit. I can see him getting it done, but I will lean towards the Pico side right now in terms of a pick. But awesome co-main event. I'm so happy they signed Aaron Pico, and I'm really excited for that fight. It's really good. All right. And then we got our main event of the evening. We have Khamzat Chimaev versus Dricus du Plessis. And this is going to be so good. So a lot of people talking about it. We have one here, Chand Kadu. DDP looked nervous. I know people are saying he got mogged, which I hate that word, by the way. And thank you, Drone Rookie. I appreciate you for this. But look, in terms of a bet like if you're betting right now, right? I guess it makes sense to like Chimaev pre because it's hard to really see anybody being able to handle him in round one. Chimaev's just ridiculous in round one. He's absolutely ridiculous. No one has done what he has done to Robert Whittaker. Still no one has done it. RDR didn't even get close, and I know a lot of people were saying he would. It was a much more competitive fight than Chimaev versus Robert. Chimaev has a ton of power. Hold up. My dog's barking, and he never barks. Oh. You're good, buddy. But yeah, so I was saying Chimaev pre makes sense because of the grappling, because of how dangerous he is in round one, because of how physical, strong, powerful he is. But if he doesn't put Dricus away in round one, I think Dricus is going to win the fight, personally. I think on the feet, like, technique-wise, who's the better striker? It's close. I don't think either of them is the most technical striker. I think both of them are solid. Dricus has that really weird style where it kind of looks awful, but it works. But Chimaev isn't the most technical either. He's a power-based guy. He is kind of technical. Maybe, maybe he's a little bit more technical than Dricus. But I think Dricus is going to be very competitive on the feet, even early. Even early. If somehow he can keep it on the feet in round one, which I don't think he will, but if he can, I think Dricus will be competitive on the feet the entire fight. But if Dricus survives the first round and then starts working back up to his feet and being able to keep it there and start landing shots, I think he's going to start to hurt Chimaev. I think Chimaev's going to start to slow down. We saw Chimaev stand and bang with Gilbert Burns, and we saw him dropped. We saw him hurt. We saw him hurt more than once in that fight. And I know it was a while ago, but Chimaev's really inactive. He's really inactive. It's really hard for him to get to fights. He has terrible health issues constantly. He's retired like 3 times and then got pushed back into fighting. So it's just like, I'm not really dying to lay chalk on him against Dricus, who's a guy who just gets it done. He just gets it done every time. Every time you think it doesn't make sense, he does it anyways. And it never looks pretty, but he does it anyway. So I think that 5 rounds favors Dricus. I think the cardio dynamic certainly favors Dricus. I think that Dricus can match Khamzat when it comes to explosiveness. I think he's going to be a very competitive striker. I think he has the better cardio. So yeah, it's gonna be a really interesting fight. Personally, if I do get to a Dricus bet, it's not gonna be a live bet. It's gonna be a pre-flop bet, only because I'm gonna be flying during the fights. I'm not gonna be able to watch live. I'm gonna be flying to my honeymoon, so I won't be able to watch live. I won't be able to live bet. I think it's smartest to live bet it because I'm like 95% sure Chimaev's gonna take him down and dominate him in the first, if not finish him. And that way, if he does finish him, you don't lose your money. But if he doesn't, then you can get in on DDP and probably at an even better price. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait. I'm going to feel it out. And then I'll possibly get to a bet. If you want my bets, my notes, my breakdowns, there's only one place you can get them. And that's the House of Sims Discord. Link is in the description of this video. And if you, for some reason, you're having a problem getting in there, just hit me up and I'll help you get in. That's where all my bets go, all my notes and my breakdowns go as well. And yeah, should be a really, really interesting fight. To me, it's kind of binary though. Either Khamzat gets rid of him in the first or second round, or Dricus starts to take over and either finishes late or gets a decision. What's the Dricus decision prop? You guys know I love my big number decision props. So fight goes is plus 250. Understandable. What's Dricus KO? 450. Okay. Dricus decision. Okay, I kind of expected better than plus 600. How about Dricus 345? How about those? I'm seeing plus 2,500. I'm for round 5. Plus 1,800 for round 4. Plus 2,000. I'm seeing. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of the way I lean. I kind of lean towards Dricus late and Dricus money line, but we'll see. What I do know is I probably won't bet Khamzat. He's too inactive for me, and I don't trust his cardio in a 5-round fight. I have no reason to trust his cardio in a 5-round fight. Now, it might not matter if Khamzat gets rid of him early, but we have to be prepared for everything, especially when you're laying the chalk. All right, let's catch up with the chat, and then we're going to run through the picks one more time. Quick reminder one more time that this is all pre-tape, except for the main event and except for the Bryan battle fight. But let's see what the chat is saying. Okay, DDP has plot armor. He can't lose for real, though. I saw somebody made a post today that was really funny. They were like, Khamzat's face when he submits Dricus in the first round, and Dricus comes in again and says, "Good thing I'm not that guy." That was good. Shout out to whoever made that post. DT liking Chimaev by submission. I understand. I totally understand why. Slick's yelling at me not to take DDP. We'll see. We'll see. I will not be max betting a guy with bad cardio who fights once every 5 years because no way. Jammer feeling me on DDP. Let's go, Jammer. That's my guy. Yep, officially as of this Sunday. Married man. Slick's telling me, do not take DDP ever. First round sub Chimmy. Okay. A lot of Chimaev love in the chat today. Justin Cash also saying Chimaev round 2 finish. Slick saying, you got swept the last main fight. Shake my head. No, I didn't. The last main event was Fluffy Hernandez. And when everybody was running to play the underdog in the Elite, I said Hernandez is going to beat him. So I don't know what you're talking about. I got swept on UFC Vegas 108, if that's what you're talking about. All right. Well, that's it, guys. That's UFC 319. I also threw in some Dana White's Contender Series picks if you guys want those real quick. I know the fights are about to start if they haven't already. And sorry for the tech issues. Unfortunately, Spectrum is just the worst of all time. But I'll run through my pre-tape picks one more time. We're going to lean Alibi at Idiris for now until I figure out whether his takedown defense is good or not. We're going to go Silva, I guess, but dog or pass for now. Bryan battle, Barbosa lean, Hooper, Loopy lean, Michal, Diego Ferreira lean, Tim Elliott or pass, but for a pick, I'll go Kai Asakura. Michael Page, but dog or pass, I think. We'll see. Just my gut reaction for now. Pratesh, Pico, but probably dog or pass. And then I think I'm going to pick Dricus straight up just to piss people off because I know I'm going to get a lot of comments about it, especially once I do my short. So it is what it is. It's just my gut feeling. I think Dricus is going to survive, and then I think he's going to get it done. So that's where I'm at, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for bearing with me with the tech issues. Peace out, and good luck.